Have you ever wondered what would happen if the world only used one currency and eradicated the concept of national currencies? During the pandemic, cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, boomed in popularity because it became another way for people to earn money.
If you're a beginner, when it comes to crypto, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just make sure you do this one thing right here. You want to learn from your mistakes. You can make 100 mistakes. If you don't learn from them, you're not going to get anywhere. Make your mistake, make note of it, learn from it, move on, and be a better investor.
And a way for people to make cash transactions while staying anonymous. And because many countries are now adopting cryptocurrencies as official currencies, would it be possible for Bitcoin to become a major currency? Keep watching until the end of the video to find the answers to the question, what if Bitcoin becomes the only currency in the world?
Corrupt politicians, inefficient management of international loans, mismanaged taxations are just some of the reasons which can cause a currency to lack trust and lose its value in an incredibly short period of time.
The concept of creating a singular main currency that is used by every country is not a new idea. And now that cryptocurrencies have become mainstream, there's a significant chance that the most prominent cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, will be considered one of the candidates or a future singular currency. Bitcoin is a very exciting development. It might lead to a world currency. I think over the next decade it will grow to become one of the most important ways to pay for things and transfer assets, said Kim.com. But what would be the state of the world if we did have only one currency? There are quite several advantages that come along with this idea. And the most significant one is that since all countries share the same currency, there's no country that has a stronger currency than the other. And this would greatly benefit trade between countries because there wouldn't be any worries with regards to the difference of currency value fluctuations between the countries.
Brazilian President Lula has defended the creation of a common currency for trade among the BRIC countries, which are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Another benefit to this is that it will lessen the fees that are needed when it comes to converting currencies. On the other hand, this idea has quite a few downsides to this idea. Given that there are countries that have different economic situations, therefore some of them are more developed than others. Having a singular world currency might disadvantage these developed countries because they will shoulder the economic burden of having to pull the weight of the developing countries. Just like what Germany did to save Greece from bankruptcy. There's also the question of who and which country will be the central authority over the currency flow. Now, what if we include Bitcoin in this equation? There are countless cryptocurrencies in circulation right now, and Bitcoin has become the most popular among them all. And while many people are still on the fence about using Bitcoin as money, it is undeniable that it will grow more in popularity in the future. Suppose Bitcoin were to become the only currency the entire world uses. In that case, all payments and transactions made will stay anonymous, which can benefit people who constantly make transactions online and want to protect their identity, such as freelance artists and writers. There also wouldn't be any need for physical banks anymore because Bitcoin is a digital currency. Therefore, it also doesn't have the equivalence to paper bills or coins that we are all used to using. Another thing that people can benefit from having Bitcoin as the main currency is the fact that there is no limit to the amount of money that can flow in or out of your account or wallet, which is something that a lot of people complain about. You can also create multiple portfolios or pies with a single account, making it much more convenient for users to access all of their money. Although the idea of Bitcoin becoming the only currency the world uses sounds promising, there is a reason why Bitcoin might not be the right option. The dangers of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The number of Bitcoins is limited. There are only 21 million Bitcoins, and almost 19 million are already in circulation. And once all of these coins are mined, no more coins will be added. In the current structure of our economy, while we do not constantly print out money, there might be a need to print out more in the future. With Bitcoin, that will not be possible, and not having the option to print more money might lead to an economic collapse. Another issue with Bitcoin is that its value is extremely volatile, and when it comes to deciding prices or knowing the purchasing power, it's important to have a more stable currency. The general public's primary concern about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general is how easy it is to use for scams and money laundering. A good example of this is the famous Plus token Ponzi scheme in 2019, where people were tricked into investing money into the company by promising a high return on their investments and then just got away with stealing $3 billion. The worst part about this is that if you ever get scammed, there is no way to trace it back to the account owner who stole your money.
And then all of a sudden, EQR Securities didn't have a phone number, he couldn't be contacted. And I went onto the internet to get onto their website, and everything had been taken down.
Because all cryptocurrency addresses are anonymous. So despite the anonymity aspect of cryptocurrencies being useful in some aspects, a lot of people will definitely exploit them to target the vulnerable. Another concern is that due to Bitcoin being a digital currency, it is quite easy for the system to get hijacked by hackers. Unless you have a crypto ledger to protect your assets and information, hackers can easily steal your money invested in Bitcoin. According to AppDome, almost $1.9 billion worth of cryptocurrencies were stolen during the first 7 months of 2022. Lastly, currently Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are still a fairly unregulated industry. Because of this, a lot of transactions within it go under the radar of the police or law, which makes it extremely vulnerable to criminal activity. Bitcoin could suddenly cease to exist tomorrow or shut down, and the government would not be able to do anything to retrieve all that money. But I guess the biggest thing that affects the possibility of Bitcoin becoming the single major currency is the fact that it's still unregulated. Most people believe that it will never become regulated due to a lot of people questioning whether it does have value at all. Nobel Prize winner and economist Robert Merton is one of these people. Merton says, the only possible legal tender currency is one controlled by government. Fiat but legal tender currencies actually have intrinsic value because by law, they can be used to settle all tax and other payments to the government, and they must be accepted as payment for obligations denominated in that currency. He also believes that Bitcoin would work better as a store of value rather than a currency. I believe that all but the most die-hard Bitcoiners have given up on Bitcoin as a currency and have changed its use to being a store of value. When asked what value it has, they point to gold. Bitcoin enthusiasts often call it electronic gold. No one really has a good theory of the price of gold. It's a puzzle. And so I believe it's a sign of how desperate the Bitcoiners have become that the only argument for Bitcoin as a serious store of value is by analogy to something whose value we don't understand its value. Many people have grown even farther away from the idea of having Bitcoin become a major currency because many countries have now adapted their fiat currency into a digital currency called central bank digital currency, or CBDCs. Because of this, Bitcoin officially has a more trusted and safe rival. So, is it feasible to make Bitcoin a major currency? Does it have the potential to become a universal currency? What do you think will be the state of Bitcoin in the next 5 years? And what do you think should be changed about it? Would you approve of it? Or are you one of the skeptics as well? Let me know your opinions and join in the conversation in the comment section below.